Hey guys, Bios Ramos here, and today we have a new season of NFL Game Picks, and I have four new co-hosts here with me. I have Christopher, I have Eddie, and I have Bryce, and we have a lot for you guys. So, first of all, I want you guys to know these people. So, let's start off with Bryce. Go ahead and you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Bryce Brown. I'm from Tennessee, and I just recently moved down here to Orlando, Florida to attend Full Sail University, majoring in sportscasting. My goal through that is to hopefully one day either be a play-by-play announcer for in the booth, maybe like a CBS or Fox Sports, or maybe be a radio play-by-play announcer for a specific NFL team. I love Tennessee Titans. That's my favorite team. Been my favorite team ever since I was little. So, yeah, tighten up.
All right, awesome. Now let's go over to Chris.
What's up, everybody? I am from Chicago. I've been in Orlando for about 15 years, though. Big time Bears, Cubs, Bulls fans. I'm also going to Full Sail with Austin and Bryce. So I'm majoring in sportscasting as well. Really excited to start this podcast, and I'm happy we have football back.
All right, and lastly, we have Eddie, and he's a fellow Dolphins fan like me, if you can't tell by his jersey.
Yeah, hey everybody. Diehard Miami fan all around. Let's go Heat. Gonna beat the Bucks in 5 today. I go to FAU. I'm a business marketing major, and hopefully with that one day I can work for an organization and in their marketing department to push ticket sales and all that fun stuff.
Before we get into our picks, guys, I want to ask you guys, what do you think about not having any preseason? How is that affecting not only organizations, teams, league, like the whole league as a whole? Like, let's say for me, like my biggest thing is like those unproven guys, those undrafted rookies who never really got the chance to possibly make a team in preseason games with being on the bubble and having a big preseason week 4 or 3 performance.
I feel like for me personally that even though you didn't have those preseason games, players still got a chance to show what they can do through camp. I think pretty much because when you look at it, teams see them day in and day out. And, obviously you want to say how they play in games, but I think seeing how they practice and seeing how they understand the playbook and the direction the team wants to go, they see that every day in practice. So I think a lot of guys are still getting chances just because of how they're performing in practice and camp. And I think that goes into it a lot every year. Another thing for me is not having any preseason games. I don't expect players to be ready week 1. I think there's going to be a lot of injuries this year, especially week 1, 2, and 3, which in turn I don't think is going to be great for the league. But you could see some of those unproven guys get chances just because there's probably going to be a lot of injuries.
I agree with you, Bryce, to an extent. I mean, there's a big difference between practicing and actually being on the field going against other teams. I think there's going to be a lot of unprepared players, a lot of players that you probably won't hear about till like the middle of the season maybe, especially young guys. And I do agree there's going to be a lot of injuries that are it's probably going to affect the league in a negative way, I think. Hoping for not a lot of injuries, but I do expect it.
Yeah, I agree with everybody so far. I just think that the first probably month of the season, it's going to be real sloppy football because nothing beats the real reps and nothing beats everything that's – so I think the first month, especially for teams that are under like new head coaches or they have like new coordinators coming, I think it's going to be a big change for a lot of these teams. You got to start off slow maybe.
Yeah, I basically agree with everything you guys said. Those were a lot of good points there. So now let's get into the game picks. Obviously, we have the champions opening up the season. We have the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Houston Texans. And I want to know who you guys picked. And by the way, we're also doing game scores on this one. So I want to hear that following your guys' picks.
I'll go first. I got the Chiefs winning 34-24. And I know I have the AFC South and so then the Texans. And the main reason is just when you take away a guy like DeAndre Hopkins away from Deshaun Watson, I mean, D-Hop changes the way defensive scheme and defenses plan because he takes away a corner and a safety every play, and he still wins those matchups, which I think could work in the Texans' favor also because now you have 4 receivers with Stills, Randall Cobb, Brandon Cooks, and Will Fuller. The only problem is Randall Cobb's health and Will Fuller's health and Will Fuller's consistency. But the Chiefs are the far superior team, and I think after seeing what we saw in the playoffs last year, I fully expect the Chiefs to win this game easy. I got them 34-24.
I agree, Bryce. I got the Chiefs winning this one too. I'm not I'm not real big on the health of these wide receivers for the Texans. D-Watt just got a fat contract, though, so he's definitely going to be balling out as usual. I don't like Texans management. I don't like what they're doing. I don't like the direction they're going. I got the Chiefs winning this one 24-41. I have Patrick Mahomes coming out and throwing a bunch of touchdowns, really showing out after that Super Bowl win.
So I got the game at 31-17. I just think the Chiefs, if anything, they added more weapons. They kept their main core intact. And, yeah, I just don't think Houston's that good. I don't really trust the team led by Bill O'Brien. And, yeah, I think 31-17 is going to be the score for that game.
Yeah, so I believe all of us are going Chiefs on this one, and it's unfortunate because the Texans are a good team. They have a great quarterback in Deshaun Watson, and he's a magician. Like, honestly, like he can barely bring this guy down. You kick him in the eye, and he's still going to throw a touchdown on you. You know, like, he's insane. But unfortunately, I think we are going Chiefs here, and I'm going Texans 24, Chiefs 31. So I expect this to be a really good game. I think it's going to come down to like someone trying to come back at the end, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be Houston like trailing. So now let's take it to the first game on Sunday, and we have the Chicago Bears at the Detroit Lions. And let's start with Chris, since he's a big Chicago guy.
Well, you know I got Chicago winning this one, bro. I like what the Lions did, but let me tell you why I got Chicago winning. I think their defense is potentially top 10, if not top 5 this year. I like what we did. I think our D-line is elite. Khalil Mack and Akeem Hicks are going to be getting double teamed every play, and we have Robert Quinn on the edge now coming off. We did lose Eddie Goldman. He's out. I liked him a lot last year. He really stepped up. He's out for COVID reasons. We are going to start Trubisky, and we're going to have Foles on the bench. I don't expect that to go the whole year. I think Foles will take over probably by week 4 or 5. We added a little bit of offense, drafted a tight end, and picked up Jimmy Graham. I like that. Still don't have a kicker, which is worrisome. Detroit, though, I think Stafford's going to come back and have a career year this year. I think they really loaded up on the offense. I like Galladay. I like Marvin Jones, T.J. Hawkinson. I think he's going to be in contention for comeback player of the year after he missed most of last year. Their defense is going to be terrible, I think, this year. They added some players. They drafted some players like Okudah from Ohio State, but they were ranked 26 last year. I don't really see them being too much better, although they definitely did get better. But I got the Bears winning this one.
Yeah, I went with the Lions. I just feel like with Stafford there and the way they have improved their defense, they got some good young linebackers, their D-line. I think the Lions are going to win this game. I do not think the Bears are a good team, and I think the Lions are the better team, and they could make a late playoff push, I think.
So I got Chicago winning this 20-10. I just think that defense is great, and I just don't trust the Lions. Their defense is shaky. It's just, I think the question is just what the Bears can produce on offense with Trubisky and.
Yeah, I'm going Chicago as well. Those of you who have seen my episodes before, you know I'm a big Chicago fan. That's my second favorite team. And honestly, like Chris said, the defense for Detroit hasn't been that good. They just got rid of their best corner, Darius Slay. Obviously, they drafted Jeff Okudah, who was a stud in Ohio State, but you know he is still a rookie. You know he's still unproven, so you need to see more before we can say anything. And their backfield is pretty stacked for Detroit. They just added AP, and they also had I forget this guy's name, but he tore up the Dolphins when we played him. And then they also drafted DeAndre Swift from Georgia. So it's just gonna be, I expect Detroit to have a really heavy running game to complement Matthew Stafford. He's never really had a pretty good running game to help him out because it's mainly just been his arm the whole time. But, yeah, I'm going Chicago there. And then now we have the Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm going Baltimore on this one because, they have the reigning MVP. There's no doubt about that. And also, like both teams are very good. AFC North, I feel, is going to be a very competitive division. But I think the Ravens are going to end up winning this one. And it's going to be pretty close, though.
Yeah, I also have the Ravens winning. I just feel like they are arguably one of the best teams, if not the best team in the AFC and arguably the NFL. But I definitely don't think people should sleep on Cleveland this year. I know Baker looked tough last year, but I believe he has a bounce-back year this year. And they have a lot of weapons on that team. They really fixed the O-line. The defense is going to be better. I expect a close game, but I think the Ravens eventually pull it out.
Yeah, let me tack on that, Bryce. ESPN has them ranked the Ravens second this year behind KC. I think they're going to be the best team in football. They're definitely going to win the division, I think, by a lot. I don't think the Browns are going to be as good as you think. Lamar Jackson, I think, is going to come out and have a great game. He's going to prove to people that he's still not that bad for a running back. I think he's going to make a contention for the first player to go back-to-back MVP since Peyton Manning. Their defense is elite, even though they lost Earl Thomas. I mean, they're still not even going to miss him that much. I think Marquise Brown is going to have a breakout year as well. I don't like that I don't like the Browns changing coaches. I mean, I know Baker likes him, but I'm not sold on Baker. I think the Browns have too many egos as well. But one positive thing I would say about the Browns is they signed Austin Hooper. I like that at tight end. Also, don't be surprised if Case Keenum is the quarterback at the end of the year.
So I think this one's going to be a real close game too. I'm going to pull with Baltimore, but I do think Cleveland's one of these teams that's definitely on the rise. I think last year it was a pretty shaky year for them, but I think this year they put more together. But they have a lot of threats on offense, and their defense keeps improving. So I think they'll definitely be up there for the division this year.
Yeah, I definitely got to agree with you. Like last year, they were pretty shaky, and it was just a lot to handle within that first year. And they also had first-year head coach Freddie Kitchens, who was pretty much out of his league. He wasn't really good for that head coaching position. He's a good coach in the NFL, but not a head coach. And then now let's take it over to another NFC North battle. We have the Green Bay Packers at the Minnesota Vikings. I want you to lead this one, Chris.
Yeah, so I'm going a different route than some of you guys went. I'm not sold on the Packers this year. I have Minnesota winning this one. I think Minnesota's back to an elite defense this year. I mean, they have Daniel Hunter, Anthony Barr, Eric Kendricks. They got Ngakoue from the Jags and franchise tagged him. I mean, he's averaging like 8 or 9 sacks a year, so I like that pickup. I really like Justin Jefferson from LSU. I think he's going to be really good for them. They did lose Everson Griffin and Xavier Rhodes, but I think they replaced them pretty good, and the defense is back on track to be top 10 in the NFL. Packers, I think, are going downhill and fast. I think Aaron Rodgers is aging and not happy where he's at. They drafted Jordan Love, and instead of getting him weapons, I mean, the only person they picked up at wide receiver is Devin Funchess, and he opted out for COVID. So they got Mercedes Lewis, I guess, to help Aaron Rodgers, but he's like 36, and I doubt he plays the whole year. So we'll see. I actually have the Packers missing the playoffs this year. Let me know what you guys think.
Yeah, I definitely disagree with that. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to come out and absolutely light it up because he's going to be mad that they drafted Jordan Love. And so, in my opinion, I think he's going to be one of the candidates for MVP just because he's going to try to prove to everybody that, hey, I'm still a top 3 quarterback in the league, which I don't think he is. But, yeah, I got the Packers winning just because simply when it comes down to it, I think the Packers defense is really good. I think the Vikings defense is better. But at the end of the day, I just trust Aaron Rodgers more than I do Kirk Cousins. And I just feel like with the Vikings losing Stephon Diggs, you're expecting the rookie Justin Jefferson to take that place. And Diggs necessarily wasn't a top 10 receiver, maybe top 5 receiver, but he would take the top off the defense, and that would open up things for Thielen. Now you got Adam Thielen, who they can just double up, and then it's, okay, let's make a rookie beat us. And I just don't think that's going to happen week 1.
I'm going to take Minnesota in this one. I'm going to have to agree with Chris. I don't think this Packers team is that good. I mean, I don't understand their first-round pick. I mean, I guess they're building for the future, but I think they're in a win-now mode, especially with Rodgers getting up there in age. And I love what the Vikings did especially with their defensive acquisitions this offseason. So I'm going to take Minnesota in this one.
Yeah, I was kind of on the fence picking this one. This was a really hard game for me to decide. I think I picked it last second before we got on. But I ended up going with Green Bay. I have to agree with totally what Bryce was saying. You know, they have a little replacement there, so it's going to light a fire on Aaron Rodgers. And I expect him to be one of those MVP candidates, like Bryce said. And, I mean, this is really tough because they both have good defenses. They both have, you know, good to mediocre offenses. Obviously, any offense with Aaron Rodgers is going to be good. But, you know, the Vikings offense has been pretty decent. But I like what Eddie said about Stephon Diggs being traded. It does present a problem for the passing game. But, you know, Kirk said, if I die, I die. So, you know, that's a really killer mentality there. So let's see what happens with him this season. He's a little feisty since he won that playoff game against the Saints. So now we're going AFC South matchup. We have the Indianapolis Colts at the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Jaguars are tanking like the Dolphins were doing last year. So I don't want to jump too much on that because last year a lot of people were trashing Dolphins, tanking for Tua. You know, now the Jaguars are probably tanking for Lawrence, and you know, they're just building for the future. Honestly, they've blown it up completely this time. So let's go with Bryce. He's our AFC South representative.
Yeah, the one argument I would make to the difference between the Jaguars and the Dolphins is the Dolphins actually had competent coaches. The Jaguars have not shown that they have competent management or a competent coach for the last 10, 15, 20 years. I got the Colts winning this game simply just because of the fact of the Jaguars are going to be such a terrible team. I actually thought had the Jaguars not dropped Fournette, they could honestly pull a week 1 upset, just come out, punch the Colts in the mouth, and shock them. But this Colts team is no joke. I mean, they added DeForest Buckner on the defensive line. You drafted Michael Pittman, Jonathan Taylor. This is a really good team, but it's just going to be, can Phillip Rivers play good behind that good offensive line? Because our offensive line is probably top 2 in the league right now. So he's got the line. He won't have as good weapons as he did in San Diego, but it's, can he just not turn the ball over 20 to 25 times a year? And I just don't think he can do that. But I think the Colts are a better team than the Jaguars, so that's why I got them winning. Also look for the Colts. I don't think they're going to win the division. I think it'll be between them and the Texans for the 2 spot in the AFC South. But the Colts could definitely be a playoff team.
So I got Colts in this one as well. Lots of different reasons. I mean, Jags seem like they're tanking for next year's draft. I think the Colts have 2 quarterbacks that are better than Jacksonville in Phillip Rivers and Brissett. I really like T.Y. Hilton and Michael Pittman. I think he's listed as their 4th wide receiver right now. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being a number 1 or number 2 by the end of the year. I'm really high on him. I think he's going to be good. Jags just don't have anybody anymore. I mean, Fournette was the last person from that playoff team, and now he's gone. So I think Jags are going to be bottom of the NFL this year, and I got Colts winning this one.
Yeah, I got the Colts too. I don't think it's going to be close. Jacksonville, they're just building for the future at this point. And Indy added some weapons. They're in that win now mode too with Phillip Rivers signing. And I think they can sneak into a wild card spot this year. I don't know how good Rivers is going to be, but he was a little shaky last year in San Diego, or not San Diego, LA. But I think they'll be pretty decent this year.
Yeah, definitely this is the best offensive line, arguably, that Phillip Rivers has ever played behind. And, like, that's been one of the comments throughout his entire career. He has no offensive line. He has to throw under pressure every single throw. And, and also always playing behind. So they have a decent defense that they've been building up there for the Texans. And they just signed Xavier Rhodes. So I fully expect I'm sorry, not the Texans, the Colts. I expect the Colts to pull this off and fully get the win. So now we have the newly named Las Vegas Raiders against the Carolina Panthers. And, man, this one was pretty tough for me to pick too. I want to see what you guys think first. But I'm going with the Panthers here. But it was honestly a coin toss for this one. They're pretty even for me.
I think Carolina got rid of a lot of people, or a lot of people left rather. Kuechly is a big loss. New quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater. I'm not sold on him. I know he played well for the Saints last year, but that's the Saints. They have a much better offense than Carolina does. So I took Oakland in this one. I'm hoping Derek Carr comes out as the gunslinging Derek Carr that he is for 8 games out of the year. And not absent like the other 8 games, but I think the Raiders win this one. I don't have it being very high scoring, but I think it's going to be close.
I feel like these two teams are very evenly matched, but I give the edge to the Panthers, and that's why I picked the Panthers. The reason why is I feel like just defensively they're better. They may not be as good at secondary or maybe even linebackers as Raiders, but their defensive line with Derek Brown, I believe Kawan Short's still there, and then you also have Brian Burns. I just feel like with that defensive line, if they can get some pressure on Derek Carr with Christian McCaffrey, you know he's going to be doing his thing. So it's just going to be up to, can Teddy Bridgewater not screw it up? And I think he's that kind of quarterback. I think he's a Ryan Tannehill-esque quarterback to where around the right system, he can just go out there and not screw things up for you, and they can win a lot of games. Don't be shocked if the Panthers win 7 or 8 ball games this year. Now they got a new coach. But Las Vegas is definitely the better coach team, I feel like, going into week 1, but I give the Panthers a better roster.
So I'm going to take the Raiders on this one. I feel like they added some nice little weapons, and I think they're going to be a decent little squad this year. I wasn't high on the Teddy Bridgewater signing for Carolina. I think he is one of those game manager quarterbacks. I just don't think they have enough weapons around him besides McCaffrey. So I'm going to take the Raiders on this one.
Yeah, honestly, deciding this game was pretty tough. I felt like they're kind of like at one of those evenly matched teams. But, the Raiders also added, some wide receivers. They have added Henry Ruggs out of Alabama. And then the Panthers obviously signed probably, besides Tom Brady or so, I'd probably say one of the biggest QB free agents on the market, which was Teddy Bridgewater. Had a great season with the Saints when he filled in for Drew Brees when he broke his thumb. And honestly, I feel like this is a good landing spot for him, especially with Cam being on the way out. And that's what we're about to speak about next. So we have the Miami Dolphins. I picked Panthers just to make sure. And we're going to go Miami Dolphins at New England Patriots. You already know I'm repping my Fins, so I'm going Dolphins. And we're doing scores for this one. I'm going to come back with my score, but I want you guys to go ahead and speak about this.
Yeah, I have the New England Patriots winning in a very close game. I have it 20-17. I feel like this is going to be two great defenses going at it. The Patriots are definitely a well-coached defense. I know the Patriots have had a ton of defensive starters opt out. I know mainly the big name was Dante Hightower, also had Patrick Chung. But I just feel like that defensively the Patriots are better equipped because Bill Belichick can find guys who can plug in and play right away and still have a top 15, top 10 defense. I think the Cam Newton signing is interesting. I like that move for the Patriots. He just absolutely has no weapons. But I just don't see the Patriots losing again at home to Miami. I got the Patriots winning, although Miami could be a sleeper playoff team this season. So I'm a Miami fan, but I just got the Patriots winning.
Look, I'm going to piggyback on that because I agree with you, Bryce, and I know the other two guys aren't going to. So I think you hit it right on the head. I got Patriots winning 17-21. Although Patriots, I think they've lost most people to COVID out of any NFL team so far. So I don't like that, but I mean, this Patriots, Bill Belichick is going to find people to plug in for the roles. I like Cam. I think it's going to be a totally new team. Also, Cam's got a lot of help in the backfield. I like the split time with Sony Michel and James White. I do like that. So I got the Patriots winning. I think Dolphins are a little too young, a little too fresh. I think defense, there's still a lot to do there. They're going for speed. I like what they're doing, but we'll see. Let's get to the Dolphin fans. Let's hear from them.
So I got the Dolphins winning 19-14. I just think, I mean, they're a really well-coached team. Going into the end of last season, they were playing great. They went into New England last year at the end of the season, and they beat the Patriots with a lot less talent than they have now. I love the signings of guys like Kyle Van Noy, Byron Jones, and then drafting guys like Noah Igbinoghene from Auburn. And offensively, I don't think they have that many weapons yet, but I think their defense is going to keep them in a lot more ball games than people think. So I'm going to take Miami on this one.
Yeah, obviously, I'm going Dolphins, and I have them winning 27-31. And honestly, 27-21, my bad. And honestly, I hope they do, because this will be the second time that we beat the Patriots in Foxborough since, I think, 2007. So it's great. It's great to hear. Dolphins obviously had a lot of key acquisitions in the offseason, not only free agency, draft-wise, and even right before we made the 50-man, 3-man roster, we made a trade for – I think we traded back our picks with the Raiders, that we ended up getting what they selected with our picks. So it was very interesting. Now look, we have another AFC East game, and we have the New York Jets at the Buffalo Bills. And right here, I'm going Buffalo Bills. I just think the Bills are a way better team than the Jets. I expecting the Jets to finish last in the AFC East. I just don't believe in Gase. I mean, I've seen him have one good season, and the rest has been mediocre as a coach. Given last year, Darnold did have that mono and situation, and they had a good ending to the season. But I just don't believe in the Jets at all. And it's unfortunate because I hate the Jets, plain and simple. But I want to hear what you guys think.
Yeah, I agree. Jets are stuck. I mean, I'm not sold on Gase either. I think we all took the Bills on this one. I think Josh Allen is going to come out and be even better than last year. He's got Stephon Diggs now as well. I love the Bills' defense. I think they totally shut down what the Jets are trying to do. I mean, who did the Jets really have to stop anyways besides Le'Veon Bell? So if you could contain him, it's pretty much game over. Who was the number one last year? Robbie Anderson. So we'll see. I don't think Jets are going to do anything special this year. I think they're going to be right back where they always are, and I have them losing this one.
Yeah, I have the Bills winning this game. They're just, from top to bottom, the way better roster. I don't trust Adam Gase either. I feel like by week 8 he'll be gone. If they had a backup quarterback that was competent, I would definitely say that Sam Darnold will not be the starter come week 8 or 9. I've never been high on him, thought he was overrated coming out of college, should not have been picked 3rd overall, but he was. Had he went to a better situation, he probably could be a better quarterback, but I just do not trust him at all. This roster is absolutely terrible. That C.J. Mosley opted out. You traded away Jamal Adams for really, I mean, you got a nice deal for him. And so now it's Le'Veon with no offensive line except Mekhi Becton, and I don't think one guy is going to be able to stop the whole Bills defense. So, yeah, I think the Bills will win big. The Jets are going to be like the Jaguars. They're going to be fighting for that number 1 pick. So
yeah, I got Buffalo in this one too. I'm not high on the Jets at all. I mean, just watching Gase down here in Miami, it looks like he's doing the same thing in New York. It's just everybody's slowly starting to turn on him. The real only weapon is Le'Veon Bell on offense, and knowing Gase, Frank Gore will probably get more carries than him. And then Buffalo, I just think they have a great roster. I just think how good Josh Allen plays depends how good that team's going to be. If Allen could be a good game manager, I think that team they can go pretty far in the playoffs. I think the defense is built really good.
Yeah, definitely. And now we have the Philadelphia Eagles at the Washington Redskins. And honestly, I'm taking the Redskins. No, I'm kidding. I'm taking the Eagles. But, yeah, it's not even the Redskins anymore. They're the Washington football team. So a lot of drama over the offseason. And Redskins ended up changing their name to the Washington football team temporarily. And that's just a placeholder. But if it sticks, it sticks. I think they're probably going to roll with that. But who knows? But, yeah, I'm taking the Eagles. The Eagles, I mean, they've been the better team than the Redskins over the past couple of years. But I do like what – I keep on saying Redskins. It's so troubling. The Washington football team. But, yeah, I just want to see what you guys pick. I just think the Eagles are just flat out better than the Washington football team.
Yeah, I'm going to do one upset a week, and this is my one upset. I definitely think Washington gets the win. Now, if you ask me why, I don't know. I just have that gut feeling. But I just look at the Eagles. They're definitely the better team. But I just feel like week 1 is going to be so wild and so crazy that we're going to see something crazy and out of the ordinary happen. Maybe the Jets upset the Bills, could be. But I definitely think the Washington football team could upset the Eagles, and I think they will. I think it'll be a very, very close game, but I just feel like Wentz may do something at the end to throw the game away because Washington has a very, very underrated defense. Their front 4 is arguably top 5 in the league, in my opinion. They have a decent secondary and some good linebackers. But I expect a better Dwayne Haskins this season under Ron Rivera. Also, watch out for Antonio Gibson, the rookie running back out of Memphis. He could be a stud this season.
So I don't know. I don't agree with you, Bryce. I think Philly kills them in the end. I like Chase Young. I like what he's doing. I mean, I like what he's going to bring, but the Washington football team is going downhill fast. Shout out to Ron Rivera. I hope he comes back healthy and strong. I hope his treatment goes well. But I think the most exciting thing going on with Washington this year will be what the team name will be. And I don't really expect the team to do much. We've heard Red Wolves. I like that. I think this one's going to come down to basically who's the best player on the field on either team, and I think it's going to be Carson Wentz. Although receiving core is pretty banged up, but we saw that last year as well, and he took the team to the playoffs. So I got Philly winning this one pretty easily, even though their whole team is banged up, actually, even their defense. But I got Philly winning this one. What about you, Eddie?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Philly too. I don't think this one's close either. And that Eagles team they've been pretty consistent with their roster for the last couple of years. You know what you're going to get out of them. It's just, I think for them, it's whether Wentz stays healthy. I like them signing or drafting Jalen Hurts. I think they'll run a couple weird formations with him, but Washington. I mean, the Chase Young pickup was great, but I don't see much there, and not enough to beat the Eagles.
Yeah, honestly, it's a very trialing spot there that the Washington football team is in. But I love that Alex Smith is coming back after that tremendous injury. I mean, seeing that, I don't know if you guys have seen Project 11 on ESPN, but man, his comeback is so inspirational. And honestly, I'm rooting for him. I love Alex Smith. He was a great quarterback for the Chiefs. I don't know about the Niners so much, but for the Chiefs, definitely. So now we have the Seahawks at the Atlanta Falcons. I'm taking Seahawks. I absolutely love the Seahawks, and I just love the trade they made for Jamal Adams. I think they may have given up too much, but I just overall love the addition of Adams to the team.
I'm actually going with Atlanta here. I feel like Seattle has superstars on their roster, but where they're bad at, they are bad at, and their O-line is not very good. They're good at receiver, good at running back, good at quarterback, but the front four on both sides of the ball, they're not very good at. You have Bobby Wagner and Jamal Adams on the defense, so they're going to give you a chance to win just between those two players themselves. But I just feel like with what Atlanta has, I believe Matt Ryan has a bounce-back year. You have Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley. They did lose Austin Hooper, but they added Hayden Hurst. And I believe if Todd Gurley can stay healthy for at least the majority of the season until possibly they could add a second running back, Atlanta's could be a playoff team. I like what they've done. They did lose Desmond Trufant, but they did draft, I believe it was A.J. Terrell out of Clemson. So I think Atlanta's going to have a bounce-back year, and they're going to be in that 9-7 range. But I got Atlanta winning this game.
All right, so I disagree. I got Seahawks all the way. I'm a big Seahawks fan. They're probably my second favorite team outside of the Bears right now. I love Russell Wilson. I think he's underrated every year. I think you fall into the hype and everything surrounding the Chiefs, but Seahawks are going to do big things this year. I think they have 2 or 3 really good running backs. DK is going to be a proven number 1 by the end of the year, I think. I think he's going to be awesome. Their secondary is going to be great as well. They're a little weak up front, but they have great linebackers, and they're going to have a solid secondary. So I have Seahawks winning this one pretty easily. I always fall into the hype of the Falcons, and I always get disappointed. I know they added Gurley. Hayden Hurst is good as well. I like Calvin Ridley. Julio Jones is a monster, of course, but I'm not sold. I like A.J. Terrell, but he's also going to be a rookie coming in. So I got the Seahawks winning this one.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Seahawks too. I mean, I think Atlanta has a better year than they did last year, but I mean, Atlanta's division is just so tough for them to do anything. I do think Seattle is a very, very solid team. Their front four is a little shaky, but they're definitely going to be fighting with the Niners for the NFC West. And yeah, I think that division definitely produces two playoff teams though.
Yeah, I agree with you. both of these divisions, the NFC West and the NFC South, are going to be very competitive this season. I mean, so much to talk about there. But let's move on to the next one. We have the Los Angeles Chargers at the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Bengals obviously had the number one pick, selected Joe Burrow. And the Chargers lost Phillip Rivers, and they drafted Justin Herbert. But it seems like Tyrod Taylor is starting. And I don't know. I just like the Chargers a lot better than the Bengals. Especially from seeing what I saw last year, the Bengals, I expect the Chargers to get this one. But I do expect the Bengals to have a better season, obviously, than they had last year. So I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about this matchup?
I definitely got the Chargers winning this one. I think this is a top 5 defense, but they lost Derwin James. So I believe that it's probably still a top 10 defense, but losing Derwin James really hurts their secondary, even though they have really solid corners in Chris Harris, Casey Hayward, and Desmond King. But at the end of the day, Joe Burrow is going to take a woodshed whooping this season. A.J. Green has shown he cannot stay healthy. Tyler Boyd is an okay receiver. He can put up numbers, but is he a receiver that teams are going to be extremely worried about? No. I believe Joe Mixon has a better season or has a good season, but just this O-line is not good. This defense is old. William Jackson's starting to get up there. He's kind of in his prime, but he's slowly getting up there. Geno Atkins also up there. Carl Austin hasn't really done much. Carlos Dunlap also getting older. So I don't like this Bengals team. You have Joe Burrow, but you're basically throwing him to the Wolves year one. So I got the Chargers winning. I know it's Tyrod starting, but I think they'll win relatively easy.
Bryce, we're different on this one as well. I'm going upset. I got Cincy. I got the Bengals pulling this one off. I think Joe Burrows comes out, tries to prove himself week one right away, and I think he's ready. He had the playbook weeks before the draft. I think he knows the playbook. I like his swagger. I like his confidence, and I think that he comes out and stuns everybody and wins week one. Now, I don't think that they're going to win a lot of games this year, but I think they come out with an upset. I like A.J. Green. I know he can't stay healthy. Tyler Boyd is pretty he's pretty good normally. John Ross, I think you guys should look out for him this year. He's on a contract year. I know he hasn't performed. I know they didn't pick up the option on him, but I think he's going to do well. And they signed 2 starters on defense for the Bengals, Von Bell and Mackenzie Alexander. Chargers, I think, are going to go downhill. I'm not sold on Tyrod Taylor as a starter. I know he doesn't turn the ball over, but he really doesn't score that often either. They lost Melvin Gordon. Austin Eckler is an okay number 1, but I think he's just going to be okay. I do expect Bosa to welcome Burrow to the NFL week 1. I'm excited to see a nice hit or something, but I got Cincy winning this one in an upset.
So I'm gonna go with the Chargers here. I think I love their defense. I think they're a top 5 defense. Derwin James being hurt definitely affects them, but I think they can. I think they'll still have enough. I think it was the right decision not starting Justin Herbert. Not huge on Tyrod Taylor, but I just think it's gonna take a little bit of a learning curve for Joe Burrow. So I think it'll take him a couple weeks, especially like not having a preseason. I think he's one of those people this definitely affects. But I'm gonna go with the Chargers here.
Yeah, definitely. So now we have another NFC West matchup. We have the Arizona Cardinals at the San Francisco 49ers. And I want you to lead this one off. This is your area of NFC West, so go ahead.
So San Francisco pretty much stayed the same. They traded DeForest Buckner to the Colts, but overall still very solid team. Not huge on Garoppolo, but they're going to depend heavy on the run game, and they're going to be up there fighting for another Super Bowl berth this year. Arizona, I like what they're doing. Kyler Murray, I think it's a huge addition for them to get DeAndre Hopkins, but they still got some time before they're competing, especially in a division that tough where you got Seattle, you got San Francisco. So I'm definitely going to take the 49ers here.
Yeah, I've actually been on the fence about this game. 49ers have the better roster, and I think are the better team. But I just really like what the Cardinals have done, drafting Isaiah Simmons, adding DeAndre Hopkins. I got the Cardinals winning in an upset. I just don't trust Garoppolo. I think the Cardinals' defense is better, and they'll be able to stop the run a little bit better. And I feel like that losing DeForest Buckner hurt the 49ers front four because now it's Bosa, D Ford, and then Eric Armstead. And so you still got three good guys, but I think losing that fourth guy hurts them. Their secondary is not good. They do not have anybody who can guard DeAndre Hopkins, and again, who does. But I got the Cardinals definitely winning a close game, probably by a late field goal. But I think the Cardinals played the 49ers very well last season. So I look for them to pull off the upset.
Yeah, so I got San Fran winning this one. I was on the fence as well. I really like what Arizona's doing. I think they're going to be good next year. I think they're going to be borderline good this year. I love Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, especially with that coach. I know they're going to be scoring a lot of touchdowns, a lot of high pace offense. I do think San Fran has somebody that could possibly shut down D-Hop, and that is Richard Sherman. Like San Francisco, I'm actually pretty big on Jimmy Garoppolo. If he could have another receiver, I would be a little more favorable for him, but he has George Kittle. I think he's going to be the best tight end in football this year. And I got San Fran winning this one, but it's going to be close.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going San Fran as well, as most of you guys have picked as well. But, both teams are contenders in the NFC West, I believe. Kyler Murray had a pretty good season. I think he won Offensive Rookie of the Year last year. And then they add DeAndre Hopkins for a steal. I mean, they got rid of David Johnson and his contract and pretty much for nothing. And they ended up getting D-Hop in return, which is one of the best receivers in the league. So I'm very excited to see what the Arizona Cardinals can produce. This was a pretty tough game for me to pick because they had pretty good acquisitions during the offseason. They drafted arguably one of the best players in the draft, Isaiah Simmons, and he's very versatile. But I still ended up going 49ers, even though they lost the Forrest Buckner in the trade. And they also got rid of Matt Breida to the Dolphins, which for them was a questionable trade because their running game was insane last year. I don't know why they decided to do that, but it is what it is. Now we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New Orleans Saints, and Tom Brady ended up going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he brought his old pal Gronk with him. And, a lot of people were very hype. And also Leonard Fournette ended up signing with them after he got released from the Jaguars. And it's a pretty solid team down there they have at Tampa Bay, and they should make a run. And very interestingly enough, the NFC team with the least, the last time they appeared in the playoffs, the longest one was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So it's very interesting that Tom chose to go there. But I do expect them to be very competitive offensively. Defensively, they're kind of but they're good enough to compete along the league. And this one we're doing scores as well, and I have the Bucs scoring 35 and the Saints scoring 33. I think it's going to be a very close game, but I would not be surprised if the Saints end up winning as well because they have another great all-time QB in Drew Brees.
Yeah, I have the Bucs winning 31-28. And if there's ever a team to go from what they went to now, I mean, I don't know if we've ever seen it in the NFL. I mean, adding the GOAT and Tom Brady and then bringing back Gronk, and then you look at their tight ends and running backs, it's arguably the deepest in the NFL. You have Gronk, O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate, Shady McCoy, Leonard Fournette, and then Rojo, Ronald Jones. So Brady has the weapons, and this defense is heavily slept on. They were number one against the run last year. They were not great against the pass, but you have Devin White, Levante David playing middle linebackers. Absolutely love those two. Antoine Winfield Jr., look for him to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm very high on him this year. He's playing free safety. He's playing center field. He's going to get a lot of picks this season. I'm not high on the Saints this year. I feel like Drew Brees is going to regress. Alvin Kamara is kind of a wild card right now. How's his health going to be, and then his whole contract situation. I'm not a huge fan of Michael Thomas. I mean, all he runs is a slant route. But I just don't like the Saints' defense. I think they'll be pushing to be second in that division. The Buccaneers obviously won, but I think it'll be Saints-Falcons too. But, for this game in particular, I got the Bucs winning. I think it's a close game, but I like the Bucs.
Yeah, so I got the Saints winning this one. I got it a close game. I have it 28-24. I think the Bucs are going to take a game or two to really figure it out. I know they have Tom Brady, so they're going to come prepared. They have really, three or pretty good running backs, so he's going to have help. They have great wide receivers. I like the defense. I think it's going to be better than everyone thinks. But I do have the Saints winning this one. I like Drew Brees. It's a great battle anytime Drew Brees plays Tom Brady. They're arguably two of the GOATs. I'm interested to see what happens with the Saints as at the quarterback position. They played Taysom Hill a lot, and now they have him as well as Jameis Winston. So I think they're going to run some offensive sets for him potentially. The wide receivers on the Saints are elite. I like Michael Thomas. I'm big on Emmanuel Sanders. Traquan Smith is pretty good as well. Shout out UCF. But I got the Saints winning this one.
So I think this is going to be just a game decided by a field goal at the end. I'm going to take the Saints 31-28. I think, just like Chris said, I think it's going to take a week or two just for Tampa Bay to get everything on the right page. It's a lot of new pieces coming together. And that New Orleans team, they've been together for a good minute now. And, I mean, two Hall of Fame quarterbacks going against each other. But Tampa Bay's defense, I think, is better. But I think New Orleans' offense is going to be at least better for week one. I think when they meet later on in the season, I think Tampa Bay will take it, though.
Yeah, definitely. This is going to be one of those matchups that we're going to look back in the year. And like, I feel like this game would be a deciding factor, which team makes the playoffs for one of these two. And now we have the first Sunday night game of the year, and we have the Dallas Cowboys christening the Los Angeles Chargers new stadium, SoFi Stadium. I don't know if you guys have been watching Hard Knocks. I love watching Hard Knocks, and it's pretty cool seeing both the Chargers and the Rams on it. It's pretty interesting. I think that's the first time they've ever done two teams. If they ever do that again, obviously they'll do the Jets and the Giants because that's the only one that makes sense to do two teams at once. But I'm going Cowboys here, and I just love what the Cowboys have been doing this offseason, adding head coach Mike McCarthy, finally getting rid of the clapper, Jason Garrett, and he's just bringing a whole new vibe to the Cowboys, and this is a game changer for the Cowboys. Just adding that head coach alone. I mean, Michael McCarthy was watching film, assembling a coaching staff while he was fired, like while he was like not working for a whole year, and still pretty much working as a coach without having a team, which was pretty amazing. And obviously having the additions of CeeDee Lamb, I'm really interested to see what Tony Pollard does as a second string running back and how he can affect the games. Because when he played against the Dolphins, ran for 100 yards just as well as Ezekiel. And that was like one of the last times he really showed up in a game. So I want to see him do more of that this year for the Cowboys.
Yeah, I got Cowboys winning this one as well. I think we all do, actually. This Rams team is totally different and far removed from that Super Bowl team we saw. They're asking way too much of Jared Goff after they gave him that big contract. I don't think he's ever going to live up to it. I think it's going to be hard with nobody really around him. I mean, Cooper Kupp is good and Robert Woods is good and everything, but they don't have enough to make another run or even win that division. The Cowboys, I'm not super huge on this year, but I do think either quarterback works under Mike McCarthy. I've had a lot of time seeing him in Green Bay play my Bears every year. So I like Andy Dalton and Dak Prescott actually in that role. CeeDee Lamb's going to go off, I think. I think he's going to be one of the best wide receivers out of that rookie class, although it's going to be probably the best wide receiving rookie class we've ever had. I got Cowboys winning this one pretty easily.
Yeah, I got the Cowboys winning this pretty easy. I mean, their running game is one of the best in the league. They got one of the best offensive lines in the league. Adding another weapon like CeeDee Lamb, I think just it helps them so much. I think Dak is really motivated this year, still looking for that big payday that he hasn't gotten yet. And then defensively, I think they'll be pretty good. I don't like that Rams team at all, though. I think they finished last in their division, but I'm not high on Goff at all. And just their team slowly started to age. And, yeah, I think Dallas runs away with this game pretty easy.
Love the Cowboys for this game, but not the season. And I will be low on the Cowboys until they give me a reason to not expect them to go 8-8. I definitely like Mike McCarthy. Love what he's doing down there. But for this game in particular, the Rams are aging. Jared Goff, as we've seen, cannot replicate what he had in the Super Bowl, which that was also a very complete team. You had Eric Weddle, Ndamukong Suh, a lot of other players who aren't there. But for this game in particular, the Cowboys are really good. CeeDee Lamb is going to be good. Don't know if he'll be as good as Jerry Jeudy. Really like Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper. This defense is scary good on paper. How they will actually play, I don't know. Everson Griffin, DeMarcus Lawrence, obviously, if Gerald McCoy didn't get hurt and they had him, this defensive line would be absolutely scary good. Their linebackers are good, but their secondary is not good at all, losing Byron Jones. Chidobe Awuzie is okay, but then they cut HaHa Clinton Dix. So I'm interested to see how this secondary will fare against good receivers like Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, who have shown and proven to be at least top 25 receivers in this league. I got Cowboys will win big this game, but I think that it's definitely – these are two teams that it's interesting to see how their seasons are going to go, because I feel like with both teams, they could either be really good or really bad.
Yeah, it could go either way, honestly, for them. And the Rams, it's unfortunate. I agree with you, Eddie, that they're probably going to finish fourth in the division. But it's going to be very tough because that NFC West is looking mean, like honestly scary as hell. And now let's go to the Pittsburgh Steelers at the New York Giants. And this is the first Monday Night Football. Every year of week one, they do 2 Monday Night Football games. So this one's going to be pretty interesting. Steelers have Big Ben coming back from pretty much Tommy John surgery, which is more like a baseball injury, which is very rare for quarterbacks. And he said he's been dealing with this pain for years and years and years. So it's going to be very interesting to see what he does. And I expect the Steelers to win this one. And they have arguably one of the best defenses in the NFL on paper. I think pretty much the whole starting lineup is first-round picks, so that's very interesting. And they just extended Cam Hayward. I think he's going to retire as Steeler. I want to know what you guys think about this.
Yeah, I totally agree, Austin. This defense is awesome. I think it's going to be elite. I think they're going to average giving up under 20 a game, which is great for Big Ben because I think he's like 110 and 10 in games that his defense allows under 20 points. So I think Big Ben's going to have a comeback year. It's going to be interesting to see how his health plays out and if he comes in shape. They signed Eric Ebron, which gives him a big body in the end zone. I love that for them. I think Juju is going to be top 5 if Big Ben can get him the ball. They got a full team. I don't think anyone opted out for COVID. James Conner is coming back healthy, so I like that. And then for the Giants, I'm not sold on Daniel Jones. I mean, Saquon's going to be Saquon. He's going to ball out. I expect him to have a couple exciting plays. They brought in some help for him with Deion Lewis. I like that pickup. But Daniel Jones has no wide receivers, in my opinion. I think they're all really terrible. So I expect them to turn the ball over quite a few times in this matchup. So I have the Giants losing in this one and the Steelers winning. Also, Steelers are ranked in number 13 right now on ESPN. Don't be surprised if they slip into the top 10 by the end of the year. They're not going to win the division, but they're going to come in second for sure.
I had the Giants winning, but I was kind of back and forth on it. I flipped to the Steelers. I love the Steelers defense. They're top 5. You have Devin Bush, Minka, TJ Watt. I mean, superstar players all over the board. Cam Hayward, Stephon Tuitt. I'm not a huge fan of Pittsburgh for the whole season. I don't trust Big Ben. I mean, he's 38 years old, coming off surgery on his arm, and when you're that old, it takes a lot longer to get back into shape. And to get back into football shape. I like James Conner. I like Eric Ebron. I like basically this whole team, just not Ben Roethlisberger this season. As far as the Giants goes, people are sleeping on Danny Dimes. This man is going to be a franchise quarterback for the Giants. And, I mean, you can attribute it to him being Eli Manning 2.0. But Saquon's good. I like the way they're building. I know it's Joe Judge who came hired out of nowhere, but – what he has around him. He hired Freddie Kitchens as an assistant coach, who was a heck of an assistant coach. And you also have Jason Garrett as the OC. And we know Jason Garrett, the head coach, but he's also a very good offensive mind. So watch out for this Giants team, especially in the NFC least, to be a competitive team and maybe push for a wild card spot. But, yeah, for this game, I really like the Steelers. But also, Deion Lewis is a terrible backup running back. I pity the team that signs him ever.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Steelers. I mean, they got a great defense. I mean, trading for Minka Fitzpatrick last year was an absolute game changer for them. Not sold on Ben Roethlisberger, though. I think he's just washed at this point. I don't think he's going to have a good year at all. but they have nice pieces around him, so it'll be interesting to see how good he comes out and plays. I do agree with Bryce, though. I think Daniel Jones is going to be a good quarterback. I just think he's a year or two away still from getting them to like that wild card level. And yeah, I mean, their defense, I don't think they did much with it. Offense, not really many weapons to surround Jones with, so I'm going to take the Steelers.
I definitely agree with all you guys about Daniel Jones being undoubtedly a future of the Giants. Me and Chris actually did like a comparison with one of our teachers. He was a Jets fan, and we're comparing. No, he's actually a Giants fan. My bad. And we were comparing like the Jets QB. I don't even like this kid. Whatever. And between him and Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones had better stats his rookie season than he did have his sophomore season. So it is what it is. And now the last game of the week, we have the Tennessee Titans at the Denver Broncos. That's the last Monday night game at 10 p.m., which is a late game, but it's a Denver game. So I'm taking – don't hate me, Bryce. So I'm taking Denver. They had way too many acquisitions in the offseason offensively. I think their offense is going to be stacked, honestly. And this is one thing that is a problem with it, is that they're probably going to have too many weapons that they're not going to know what to do with them. That's the only thing that's going to get in Denver's way. That's what I feel for them.
Yeah, obviously I got the Titans winning 27-17. I do agree with you. Denver's offense is scary good, very high on Jerry Jeudy. I think he was the best receiver in the draft, and I think he'll be the best receiver out of this draft for the next 10 or 15 years. I think Drew Lock is going to show this year he's a franchise caliber quarterback, maybe not to a high level, but maybe to a Derek Carr kind of standard, maybe a little bit better. The defense for the Broncos is really good. Justin Simmons, Von Miller. I believe they did cut Todd Davis, though, a few days ago. You got A.J. Bouye at corner. But the defensive line isn't very good. Their offensive line is absolutely terrible. Juwan James opted out. And then I think they have DeMar Dotson replacing him. You have Melvin Gordon, Phillip Lindsay. But if you have no line, it's, kind of not – I mean, what's the point of having two good running backs if you're not going to have anybody to block for them? The Titans, though, I feel like we have a top 5 defense in the league right now. People sleep on Kevin Byard. He's the most underrated player in the league, in my opinion. He does not get the respect he deserves. We have really great linebackers, Jayon Brown, Rashawn Evans, who are 2 young studs. Defensive line's pretty weak with the exception of Jeffrey Simmons. I feel like our secondary is the most complete secondary, at least in the AFC. Adorie's a nice corner. Kenny Vaccaro. We drafted Christian Fulton, who somehow fell to the second round. Then we have Malcolm Butler. But adding Jadeveon Clowney to this defense really makes it a top 5 defense, because Harold Landry showed last year when he had a competent edge rusher on the opposite side, he was averaging a sack a game when we had Cameron Wake. The problem was Cameron Wake could not stay healthy, so then they just started doubling Harold Landry, and we just couldn't get any pressure. So this is definitely, in my opinion, I mean, other than Tampa Bay, New Orleans, and then Kansas City, Houston, I think this is probably the second or third best game of the week. And I also want to get revenge on Big Jarrell Casey. So
yeah, I also got Titans in this one. I think Drew Lock is going to surprise some people, but I don't think he's there yet. I liked his receivers. I like Cortland Sutton. He's got 2 really good running backs in Phillip Lindsay and Gordon, so I agree with you guys there. I'm not sold on the defense for Denver. I know they're ranked pretty high, but I'm not totally sold. I like A.J. Bouye. Shout out UCF again. Von Miller is good. They're a little banged up. I'm not even sure if they have their starting lineup set for defense yet, because they keep getting injured. But I have Titans winning this one. I hope Derrick Henry comes out, really lives up to that contract, and plays well. But, yeah, I got Titans in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Titans too. I think they end up winning 24-10. In their offense, it showed last year, guys like Derrick Henry, they're going to pound the ball with him a lot, chew a lot of clock, and I don't think Ryan Tannehill is going to turn the ball over that much. So they're going to be a really tough team to beat, especially with the defense that they got. I think Jadeveon Clowney was a huge signing for them, and I love what Tennessee's doing. Denver, on the other hand, I like Drew Lock a lot. I think that offense is going to be explosive, but I think their defense I don't think it's going to be able to keep up with them at all. So I'm going to take the Titans.
Tennessee to lose this one just because all of you guys picked them to win. So I was just like, let's make this interesting. But yeah, going Denver 21 and Titans 17. So it should be very interesting to see what happens in this final Monday night game of the week 1. And now I want to go into division winners. Who do you guys believe is going to win the division? Starting from right now when everyone's at 0-0. Let's make this a little interesting right here. I'm going to start it off. So for the AFC East, I'm going with my Dolphins. Going to go there. But Bills are going to be the second contender. And don't be surprised with the Patriots and what they're going to do with Cam Newton. So that's also definitely in its position. For the AFC North, I have the Baltimore Ravens obviously winning it out. And then Steelers is going to be a tough contention there for that first spot. And now for the AFC South, I have possibly the Titans, and if not, the Colts, Texans. I mean, it's all good teams there besides the Jaguars. But, yeah, definitely the Titans are going to win that one. And then AFC West, how can I not go with the Chiefs, defending Super Bowl champions? But the biggest competitor for them there is the Broncos. And then now when we head over to the NFC side of things, I have the Dallas Cowboys winning it, Eagles coming in second. And then NFC North, I have the Vikings surprisingly winning it. And then it's going to be a tough competition for the Packers and the Bears. And then NFC South-wise, I have obviously the Buccaneers are biggest team in the offseason. And it's going to be very tough for them because it's going to be a very tight division going down the line. So it's going to come down to like the last week for them. And NFC West, I have the Seahawks taking the NFC West. I want to know what you guys have for each division.
Yeah, so starting with the AFC East, it's kind of a toss-up for me. I've seen a lot of people take the Dolphins, and a guy who I highly respect, Peter King. I saw his predictions. He came out with the Dolphins winning it. I think the Bills will win the division, but I think the Dolphins could be a close second and just barely sneak in the wild card. I absolutely love both rosters and both coaching staffs. So I think that's going to be a tight division. Looking at the AFC North, it's definitely going to be the Ravens. I think the Steelers could maybe contend for it, so could the Browns, but the Ravens are going to run away with it, and Steelers and Browns fighting out for second, and I'm not worried about the Bengals. The AFC South, I think the Titans are going to win it. I think they're going to be 11-5. I'll be disappointed if we don't win the division, but if they don't win it, I think the Colts will. I think the Colts will be second right there, but I got the Titans. The AFC West, got the Chiefs. I don't see any of those teams being good enough to contend with them for the division. I think the Broncos will be a good team. I think the Raiders could be a wild card team. I also think that the Chargers could be a wild card team too. But I just like what the Chiefs are doing and basically keeping everybody from their Super Bowl. Going to the NFC least, I think the Cowboys win it by default, but I feel like it's a toss-up between the Cowboys and Eagles right now. The Giants are a sleeper, but I just don't think they have I don't think their roster is as good as the Cowboys or Eagles. Going to the NFC South, I really love the Bucs. I think they're going to win the division. The Saints could it'll be between the Bucs and the Saints, but if I have to put money on it, I'm definitely putting my money on the Bucs winning the division. NFC North, it's a tough one for me. I want to go Vikings, but I just think Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are really going to win it. I don't trust Kirk Cousins. I think he has a down year. And with Kirk Cousins having a down year, defense are going to focus on the run game. Also, watch out for the Lions. I think with Stafford staying healthy for a full season, watch out for them. It's about time for Stafford to pull out another 10-6 year and somehow make it into the playoffs. And I think 10-6 could possibly win that division this year. Then the NFC West, I think it's going to be Seahawks or Cardinals. I don't see the 49ers having the success like they had last season. They have the same team. They remind me a lot of the Rams last season. I think they're going to have a Super Bowl hangover. They're not going to be there. I think their defense will still be good, but I think it's probably going to be the Seahawks winning the division, but don't be surprised if the Cardinals also make a push.
All right, so I'll start off in the AFC East. I have the Bills winning this one. I think the Patriots are actually going to go probably 10-6 and come in second. I think Bills are going to go 11-5 or so. And I think the New England Patriots are going to be better than you think with Cam Newton. AFC North, Ravens are going to win that easily. They got the MVP. I think Pittsburgh's going to be a lot better than people give them credit for. I think they're going to go maybe 9-7, 8-8, 10-6 in that range. Browns are going to be awful. Bengals are going to be awful, I think. AFC South, Bryce, I got your Titans winning. I don't really see anybody challenging them too much. I just don't trust Phillip Rivers to not turn the ball over for the Colts. And the Texans, I just don't like their management. They have Watson and everything, but I got Titans there. AFC West is obviously the Chiefs, no competition. NFC East, I got the Cowboys winning. I think the Eagles are going to go back a step. I'm not huge on Carson Wentz like everybody else is. The other two teams aren't going to even be in conversation. They're going to be fighting for that number 1 pick. NFC North, I don't have the Bears winning. I have Minnesota taking this one. I think Bears and Minnesota are going to have 2 elite defenses, though, so it's going to be very interesting. I have the Bears coming in second, fighting off the Lions, who are going to be third, and I have Green Bay for the first time in a while, finishing at the bottom with Aaron Rodgers leaving and joining a different team. But at NFC South, not falling into the Tampa Bay hype. I'm going with the Saints. Tampa Bay is going to get that wild card spot, though. I'm not sold on the Falcons. I think every year they hype up Julio and Matt Ryan, and every year they fall short. Although I do like Todd Gurley playing in front of his hometown, but I think they're going to be left out. NFC West, I agree, Bryce. San Fran's got that Super Bowl hangover. They definitely remind me of the Rams. I think they're going to be decent. I think they'll be like 9-7, 10-6 in that range. But I got Seattle going about 12-4. I think they're going to be one of the better teams in the league. Love Russell Wilson. Love the coach. Love the offense and defense. So I got Seattle winning NFC West. Also, I forgot to give my score for the Titans-Broncos. So I got Titans 27-10 in that one.
For the AFC East, as much as I want the Dolphins to win, I do think it's going to be between the Patriots and the Bills, and I think the Bills I think they have a little bit more. Then in the AFC South, I'm going to take the Titans. I think they're by far the best team in the division. AFC West, I'm going to take the Chiefs. I don't think any team is relatively close into the Chiefs in that sense. The AFC North, I think it's going to be between Baltimore and Cleveland, but I think Baltimore is going to win that pretty easily. In the NFC East, I mean, I want to take the Eagles, but I'm going to take the Cowboys. I just think that if there was going to be a year, it's going to be this year. They changed their coach. They're finally doing things that people wanted them for years. The NFC South, I'm not falling into the Bucs thing either. I'm going to take the Saints on that one. I just think Breeze has maybe one good year left before they really start having to find a replacement for him. The NFC West, I'm going to take – this is a tough division because I want to take the 49ers. I do think they're still a solid team, but I'm going to take Seattle. I think they have all the pieces. I do think that Tampa Bay and Seattle are going to be – or not Seattle. And the 49ers are going to be the 2 wildcard teams that way. And then in the NFC North, I'm going to take the Vikings. I just think I'm not high on Kirk Cousins, but I think he can get them to the playoffs and win that division. The Bears, I don't trust any of their quarterbacks. And, yeah.
All right, and that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And we're definitely going to be continue doing this on throughout the season. So watch this all the way through the Super Bowl. So it's a lot of weeks that we're going to be here talking. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a nice thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to follow these guys on their social media handles and their soon-to-be YouTube channels, which I'm forcing them to do. So make sure to do that, all right? All right, so enjoy your day and let us know what you guys think in the comments, all right? So that's about it. Fins up.